Thank you, Carol, and thank you, everyone. I looked down the list and I thought I was further down on the list, so I'm going, oh no. But I'm glad it happened that way. If I had known exactly where I was going to be, I would be a lot more nervous about this. I want to pull this jacket off because what I'm wearing today is a shirt that my nephew sent to me, and the shirt for some people may be a bit strong. It says racism must die. When he first sent me that shirt, I'm going, oh my goodness, this child is but the more I thought about the fact that he's from a military background, and to say things must die, I'm going, okay, let me just think about what is his real message. And for him, because of the fact that he has traveled around the world and interacted with people of all races, he understands the fact that in order for this world to be a better place, racism must die. And I thought that would be my main point in talking with us today. This opportunity would give me the opportunity to talk about what we can do here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. For me, I consider myself to be a person, number one, I'm a sharecropper's kid. I didn't have a farm of my own, but I certainly lived on the different farms that my parents were a part of, and I definitely picked a lot of cotton. I'm saddened to say that they never became rich, not even gained a bank account from the years of farming that they did. I want to say to us that until the wounds that took place in my own experience are beginning to heal, I see the necessity that racism must die. And in order for that to happen is one of the reasons why I wrote the book entitled Big Bend, Where the Tide Rolls Around Tuscaloosa, because I want not only those of us here in Tuscaloosa to know that the great University of Alabama and the fact that we have a very famous football team, a very powerful team, it's greater than that. Tuscaloosa is greater than that. The real power comes from the fact that here in Tuscaloosa, one community, and there are several, and I will count them all, one of those main communities was called the Big Bend community on the west side of Tuscaloosa. It encompasses the Sanders Ferry Road, and a lot of people don't know about the famous Sanders Ferry Road. The Big Bend community grew out of that particular area, and the fact that the cotton that was raised here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, a lot of that cotton came out of that community and traveled along that road to get back to the shipping docks here in Tuscaloosa City. A lot of people don't know about that, and our children don't know about it, and I think it's important that we know those individuals who did not get credit. People don't even know that they exist or have ever existed, and the fact that they still have ancestors here in Tuscaloosa and throughout the world. We need that story told because racism must die. I listen to it, and I know my time is very limited, so I'll sort of jump around with what I do have to say. In addition to what I've just said, I want to emphasize that a lot that Dr. Steele and Dr. Garner said, I already have here on my paper, and I thank God for that. So I'll just mention the fact that something Dr. Garner said that I have on my paper: we must count the cost in everything. That message was brought to me by Bishop William Reese when he was a pastor of the church I attend. Another thing is, a house divided against itself cannot stand. Mark 3:25. Another thing that I learned from one of my previous principals at West Lawn Middle School, and his name was Robert Coates. He told us, and we were having a lot of problems in school, and he was trying to help. As teachers, we were frustrated, And he helped us understand what it's like for some of our children. And he said, hurting people tend to hurt other people. That is why racism must die. Another thing is evil cannot cast out evil. Only love can. And I know everybody knows that Dr. King left that message with us. That is why racism must die. Yeah. And then I have my own pastor who surprised me by being here today. Reverend Lorenzo Bonner and his wife Elaine. Pastor Bonner constantly tells us at our church that we are not responsible for what other people do to us, but we are responsible for what we do to others. That constantly tells me that racism must die. So what I'm saying to all of us, and I believe in reparation, I think African Americans, like everybody else, deserve it. I know that in my experience in learning what's happening in our world and the history I'm learning, I realize that when people complain about that they didn't start this thing of slavery, I now realize that black people were a part of that too. They just didn't know that it was going to get out of hand, and their own children became enslaved as well. That is why racism must die. What I've learned is that as people hate each other, they don't realize that they're shooting themselves in the foot, because according to what history keeps telling us is that for every person, their ancestor was a female black person out of Africa. If we trace every ethnicity back to where it came from, we will find out that racism must die, because all of us have that same unique bondage of being connected in that way to a black female. That is why racism must die. So in closing, y'all, because I get emotional with this, I listen to the speakers and I get emotional. I realize I thank that God for the opportunity to have something to say today. I hope something I said made some kind of sense, and that we will do all we can to help bring about what I thought would never happen. First of all, I thought we'd never have a black president. Yes, we did. I thought to myself, we'll never have unified groups that I see a cross-section of all kinds of people here today, and I'm going, that would never happen. It has happened. So it lets me know that in spite of the fact that we say that reconciliation will never happen, I know that it will based on what I've already seen. I have the faith and a commitment that I'll do all I can, and I tell by the way that fact that I see all of you here today, you have that same mindset that we can do this. With God's help, we can do all things. So let's keep moving forward. We deserve this. We've earned it. Race and reconciliation. Racism Race is a competition. I find that slavery will never go away because of man's being flawed and greedy. But we have to do what we can to minimize it, and we have to continue to say what's fair and equal and right for everybody. Thank you.